Hello, everyone. This is the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show. My name is Vanita Lambert, and I am the host of this show. We have a very special guest who is also a friend of mine. She's a pastor, and she's also part of GIA, which is Greater Hartford Interfaith Action Alliance. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we get into all that, I just want to say welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, and if you want to just tell the audience a little bit about yourself before we start.
Sure.
Just in case they missed it the first time.
Oh, well, first of all, we're sister friends, so we have a granddaughter in common, beautiful granddaughter. But I'm also the pastor of Ministerio Nueva Creación, which is a Latinx or Latino church, bilingual church in Manchester, Connecticut. And I'm also the dean of the School of Lay Ministry for the New England Synod. I have a lot of other hats that I wear. And then part of what we do as Ministerio Nueva Creación is we are part of an organization called GIA, Greater Hartford Interfaith Action Alliance. And we basically, it's all of these churches together, all of these denominations. I mean, we're talking about synagogues, mosque, and all different Christian churches under the umbrella.
That's beautiful.
Yes,
to
coming
see
together
that.
for social justice issues.
Yes.
For things in the community. We also work with a different organization that's like GIA in New Haven. I wish I had the name for it now, but we work really all around the state to kind of make changes to legislature that are affecting the BIPOC community, which is, and for those of you who have never heard that term, BIPOC is Black, Indigenous people of color.
Okay, I was just going to ask you, I don't think I've ever heard that before. I think that's beautiful that all the different denominations come together, because that's always been like a pet peeve of mine. If you're this religion, you can't do this with that religion, or if you're that religion, you can't go into a building with a cross, or, there's just been so many obstacles and things that you can't do if you're a certain religion.
And
so it is great that everybody comes together, because that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. We had an assembly last year to kick off our whole year of GIA, and then and in that assembly and we also have teams that we work on. I work on a team with a rabbi, a female rabbi.
Wow.
And another pastor for UCC Church, which is United Church of Christ. And that's a different denomination under the Christian umbrella.
Yeah.
And you have, every meeting we say prayer in all different denominations. So it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to see different members of different communities, diverse communities of faith, coming together for real issues that are impacting all different communities.
That's right. We're all God's people. I think that's just wonderful that happens. And, part of being a good Christian is taking care of the community and taking care of the people that can't take care of themselves.
Absolutely.
So last time we were here, we talked about that a little bit, and it was about all the rent hikes at the time. And you guys had a bill.
We had a bill, but it was squashed. So now the new bill.
What a surprise!
Yes. I couldn't get into it as much as I wanted to, but we do have something that now, because that bill was squashed, it's called Affordable Housing Fair Share, and that came out of that bill that was the House bill that I had talked about the last time, and so for the affordable housing for fair, they're trying to really create a bill where you can have affordable housing, and you can also kind of have a minimal rent cap. That's why it's fair share. It's not a complete rent cap like we were going for the last time,
right?
But it includes certain aspects of that bill that we were into this bill.
So landlords cannot just raise the rent or whatever they want. There's like
equitable.
some type, yes. Okay.
Yeah, so it'll have to be equitable, and it goes with that.
Yeah.
Next time I come back, I'll definitely bring more information. Yeah. One of the things this past week, was, I guess it was like a call-in week. So we had different churches, different people calling their legislators for different aspects of what we're doing. GIA is not only doing rent caps, they're also doing, we have mental health group for affordable mental health, and to get more, try to more funding for equitable mental health in low income areas where you can't find a mental health provider.
Exactly.
Affordable housing fair share. So we had a call-in date, which was Thursday, May 18th last week for mental health. Affordable housing for fair share, which was this past Tuesday. Yesterday was this Wednesday was environmental justice, and that's dissolving MIRA. And that's one of the big trash compacting companies that services the area of Hartford. And what they're doing is it's basically impacting low income communities with people of color. Okay, and there's a lot of trash.
I know all about that.
So MIRA. So you know about MIRA.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know about that because a friend of mine who was the ex-councilwoman, Cynthia Jennings, got one of the landfills shut down in the south end of Hartford.
Okay, so she's probably very well aware.
Oh,
and
yes.
She's probably one of the legislators that people are calling into to help. So, and then there's education. Yesterday was education, equitable funding for education, and then gun violence prevention is today. Where you can call in to your legislator and have different scripts they give you different scripts, but you can call into your legislator to talk to them about really, coming up with a bill to prevent gun violence in our communities. Okay. And so we are involved in all of these sorts of things. Yeah. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes we're able to go and produce a bill in the first session or the second session. And so this is a long haul. That's quite an agenda. But these are all, that we came up with. And how we come up with this is we have house meetings in each of our churches, each of our synagogues or mosques. There are house meetings, and we come up with what the question is. What is keeping you up at night, right? Oh, what in your community?
That's my favorite question, Medicare.
Right, so what is, exactly, so you use it for Medicare, but you could use it for social justice issues too. What is keeping you up at night? Share your personal story of something that's keeping you up at night. And out of all those stories that get shared, you get all of these wonderful topics that we can go and fight for. Exactly. You find out really what are the needs of the communities are.
That's awesome. I wonder if they're doing that in all the communities. Like, I know you guys are doing it up in Hartford.
It's part of community organizing.
But are you online? Are you networking with other, like Bridgeport, other towns and communities?
I believe they are.
Do they know what you're doing? Maybe you could teach them something that they're not doing.
I believe GIA does network with other community organizers that are doing the same thing in different counties.
It's so powerful. You got to share.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Yes,
they are. Like I said, next time I'll bring a list of different networks that GIA does have together. But it's important.
And where, like, when you guys have these meetings, are they online? Or are they on YouTube? Are they recorded? Can you put this information out? Because this is important information. Yeah. And it's, it's reality. Yeah. It should be on this show. This is a reality show.
I know, right?
I'm serious. It really should. That's how things come to form.
The GIA Assembly was recorded and it was put out, and we have a Facebook page for GIA. Mm-hmm. And then I was part of, it was sometime in February, I believe, for the bill, for the House bill. Okay. And I actually went, I have a picture in the paper, and I was actually on camera on the 6 o'clock news. Everybody was calling me.
Oh, wow. And you're probably on one of the Access TV channels.
Probably during one of the hearings. It was a press conference, and then after that was the hearings that went all into the night and into the morning to hear about the bill, because the bill was, testimony and people giving testimony. So I was there as representing...
You're the voice of the people.
Of the people, yes.
Basically.
And there were a lot of people there being represented about sharing their stories about rent hikes and $300, $400 rent hikes and things like that. So I was able to do that.
Speaking of rent hikes, I have a mortgage. And we just got, I don't know if you want to call it an assessment, but my mortgage just went up. And normally when your mortgage goes up, my mortgage is like so tiny. My taxes and my insurance is way more than
Yeah.
everything else. But the mortgage portion of it just went up like $204. And they said the reason that they're doing it, and they're only doing it for a year, is because they want to have excess cash in escrow. So if the taxes go up or if the insurance goes up. But I mean, that's already being done. I think it's, I think it's for other reasons, but
the
paying
thing is
another
that
$200 a month is still, a lot.
It is.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. I mean, the beauty of what you have is that you own your home, right? And
Well, I think
I mean, yes and no.
Okay.
No, I mean, the thing is that you own your home, so you can control how, anything that gets fixed in your home.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly. You could say, okay, I'm gonna, and you build equity in your home. Whereas paying $200 in rent and you still have mold on the walls, and you can't control that. It's the landlord that has to do that.
It's
you're
terrible.
not getting, you don't get any equity, but you have no choice but to live there because you have children.
Exactly.
You have rent to pay. You need to pay rent. You need to live. Otherwise, you'd be out on the street.
And you can't move unless you come up with like 2 months security to go someplace else.
And
that's another thing.
And the truth is that I think that even that impacts all of the other things that we're looking at. Let's say, not having a secure place, right? So you're renting, you all of a sudden, your rent is going up $200 a month. I mean, for me, my rent went up $300 where I live. But I have a secure job. I also,
right, you can afford it.
It was still a lot, and I thought to my husband, even with the groceries going up and everything going up, I remember telling my husband, if we were in a different situation, or we were younger, and we didn't have the jobs that we had,
you wouldn't be able to do it.
This would be hard to do.
And that's how it is for other people.
Right? But then you think, oh my God. I don't make that much money. I'm making $18 an hour, maybe if that. I have a kid to support. My rent just went up $200.
What am I gonna do?
The groceries, to get a gallon of milk is like $5. To get a dozen eggs is like $2 or $3. So grocery bills, if I was spending $25 a week, now went to $50 a week. I have a car insurance that I have to pay because I need my car in order to get to work. So there goes gas. Gas is at almost $4. And so you have all these expenses.
Yeah.
Then you have daycare.
Let's not even talk about daycare. It's so expensive.
Then you have all of these expenses. And then you have the anxiety of those expenses. That impacts your mental health.
Your mental health. Oh, please. It's called financial stress.
That impacts your mental health. And then if you have older kids and you see them struggling, impact mental health, then what happens? You go out into the community, things happen, you get gang violence, and then you have gun violence.
Exactly.
It impacts every single aspect
of your life. It sure
of
does.
The community. And the truth is that it's impacting our community the most. Because it is.
So what do we do about that mental health, the financial stress? If you think about it all at once, that's when you have anxiety because it'll just drive you crazy.
Yeah.
So, and I've been through financial stress. I was brought up in a single family on the east side of Bridgeport with not enough food, never had a bike and all of that. So I'm talking from a place of experience.
Yeah.
What you have to do, in my opinion, is write it down and prioritize and try to deal with one thing at a time. And if you have insurance, okay, whether it's Husky, whether it's Medicare, or you work for Yale or whomever, that insurance card normally has on it PCP, meaning your primary care physician, $20 or $0, and then it has SPEC, meaning a specialist, and that's usually $45, $50. You can take your mental health problems to a specialist, a head specialist, and talk to them for an hour about whatever stressors you're going through. I took my kids for anxiety for all types of breakdowns and things like that. And we have this stigma that if we go and talk to somebody about our problems, that, oh, we're crazy. No, you're not crazy. And if you're embarrassed, like if you're afraid you're going to embarrass your kids, go out of town, because that's what I did.
Yeah, well,
I took them, I live in West Haven, I took them to Middletown. You know, go out of town, but get it done.
Yeah.
These people are professionals, and they can help you at least, you know, try to help your anxiety subside just like a little bit.
Well, I think the other thing is that one of the things, and that's prevalent in our communities, our Black
stigma.
and brown
Oh,
communities, the Latino communities, because at the end of the day, and especially with men, the idea of talking about your problems to an individual, someone that's outside your house, that's just uncalled for. It's a stigma.
Yeah, don't tell anybody. I mean, if you don't tell anybody, they don't have to worry about it.
It's like, no, whatever stays in our house, whatever happens in our house stays in our house. Whatever you're thinking, you keep it in, you internalize it. You don't need to talk to anybody about it. In the Latin community, in the Latino community, if you're Catholic, then you talk to your priest about it, right? But then there are things you just don't want to share with your priest. So you still
human.
Because you still internalize it. My thing is, I think what the biggest barrier to our people getting mental health services is the stigma. It's the stigma that was created around our community. You just don't do that. And once we can take down those walls and take down those barriers and say, it's okay. That doesn't mean you're crazy. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It's okay to talk to someone.
Yes.
And break down that barrier. Then we'll have more of our community going out there and seeking the help that they need.
It is a part of your body that needs medical attention. If you had a heart problem, would you stay at home or would you go to a cardiologist?
You'd go to a cardiologist.
If you had a foot problem, you're going to go to a podiatrist. If you need, to test your eyes, you're going to go to a vision care center. It's just a part of your body, it's a complicated part of your body that needs help.
And guess what? What people don't realize and this is something that with my education and my research and everything that I'm involved in, is what you don't understand is that your mental health impacts every single part of your body.
Oh, yes, it does.
Okay, because the stress.
Yes.
If you're under stress and you're anxiety and you're feeling depression.
Yes.
It impacts your bones and your joints. It impacts the way that your heart works.
Everything.
It impacts
and
your
family.
Stress is really hard. And then if you're someone that has an autoimmune disease that ends up having to go through a mental health crisis, if you don't take care of that, it impacts your autoimmune disease, and it just exasperates all of these conditions. Yes. So taking care of your mental health, it should be part of your whole health care thing.
Yeah.
Mental health should be part of it, and then that way it helps all your other parts.
Exactly. Even if you don't have a specific issue, and I'm going to talk from a place of experience, it's called menopause. I am right now on an emotional roller coaster.
Me too. Yes. We need to do a whole nother show just
on
we menopause.
do. But I'm just going to take a couple minutes. Even just for menopause, all of a sudden your body goes into shock and these things start happening. You're like, who is that person? What am I doing? So even for menopause, PMS, for women I'm speaking, hot flashes, you can go to your specialist and talk to them about some of the things that you're feeling. Why can't you sleep at night? Why are you yelling at your kids about things that you never yelled at them before?
And I realized that waking up in a bad mood for no reason at all is just there.
Here's the thing, talk to your family. I used to tell my kids during PMS, I'd be like, look, honey, I used to tell them, this is the week mommy doesn't feel good. Do exactly what I tell you the first time, and I'll treat you next week. Because I was a crazy person. So you have to learn and understand what's happening with your body, and sometimes you're not able to do that by yourself. You can't figure it out. You can't diagnose your own problems. You have to go and talk to somebody and let them say, Vanita, I think you're having anxiety because I see you're starting to sweat and get excited and you're talking with your hands, and when you first got here you were nice and calm and laid back. So go and talk to somebody go to the specialist, especially, for us in the inner city. You have Husky, you have great insurance. Go and take advantage of it and learn how to deal with your family. As a matter of fact, there is a webinar. I work with a psychologist. Her name is Dr. Sonja Phillips. She does a parenting webinar.
Oh, that's great.
Every Monday and Wednesday from, I think it's 10 or 10:30 to 11. It's like right around that time for an hour and a half. Mondays is English and Wednesdays is Spanish. And you can go and learn, how to treat your kids, how to raise your kids. And she's on the show every month, and she's giving us wonderful information
awesome.
about
That's
our
great.
bodies, our families. And right now she's talking about developmenting kids at a certain age. She's at Kalani's age, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, she does exactly that. Our granddaughter, Kalani. So mental health is so important. And another thing I think, it starts with self-love.
It does.
Sometimes you got to just put everything aside, even if it's money, take a little bit from here, a little bit from there, and you have to treat yourself.
I said even things that are not even money-wise. I think taking time for yourself, taking time to reflect and get to know yourself is important. I remember going through all the stressors of, when I got divorced the first time, I didn't know who I was. I felt like literally the ground from under me fell, and I just was falling, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who I was because I got married young, so it was about being, Beatrice was wrapped up in being someone's wife and someone's mother, but who was Beatrice?
And not being Beatrice. Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
You have to be
that's another show too.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show. That's probably 2 or 3 shows.
Yes. So that's the other thing that, but one of the things that I had to learn was I had to love myself. In order to get to know myself, I had to love myself, the good and the bad and the ugly of myself.
Yep.
Love it all. And then from there, I learned how to take care of myself.
Exactly.
I learned what I loved. I learned going to walks. I used to go and take myself to the movie when I was single, until I found, until I started dating, until I was comfortable enough to date. I used to go and, go treat myself to a fancy dinner.
Whatever.
I loved myself. I used to do those things. And then just taking the time for myself, working all the time, sleeping in for 2 hours is a blessing to me.
Oh my goodness, 5 minutes in the morning is a blessing to me.
It's a blessing to me. I'm like, sleep in, or, cooking my favorite recipe, or just, doing those things and getting back into those things to love yourself.
Right.
And that's also part of mental health.
Yes, it is. And like she said, just evaluating yourself. And the one thing that we also have another stigma about is apologizing. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to make a mistake, but don't let it build and build and build.
Yeah.
If you know you're wrong and you have a problem saying I'm sorry, practice in the mirror and then go say it to somebody. But if you hurt somebody, they need to hear it.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to be able to forgive. You have to be able to know when you're wrong.
Yeah.
And you have to, and I'm talking from another place of experience. I had to apologize to my family, and I had to tell them, I didn't know what was happening with my body at the very beginning of menopause, and I had to tell them, if I start yelling at you for something that's completely, unnecessary, ignore me. And then after I have that talk, and I still yell like a crazy person because I'm a screamer, and then as I'm in the middle of it, I'm like, okay, I'm yelling like crazy, then all of a sudden I realize how stupid I sound. And so I start backpedaling, and at the end of it, I'm like, oh, never mind, it's okay. Yeah. But it's self-awareness of your problems.
Yeah.
It is, oh my goodness. It's a wonderful thing to learn about yourself, to evaluate yourself, to, just take and critique yourself and see how your day went, what you're doing wrong, who doesn't like you and why, and, talking to your children. I'll tell you, communication is the most important thing. My oldest son, Baby Joe, I call him Baby Joe, taught me how to be a great listener when he was about 7 or 8. Because I asked him, he was always getting into stuff, very mischief child or whatever. We could call it that, bad or whatever. Always getting into things. I knew it was him because the other one was a baby, couldn't even read certain things. And I would already just punish him right away because I knew it was him. We're going through financial stress and all these other things. And one day I decided to ask him, after I whooped him, I set him on the bed next to me, and I knew this kid just hated me. I didn't think he was ever going to love me again because I was the one doing 95% of the punishing. And I said to him, I said, just tell me one thing that you don't like about me. And Baby Joe said, well, as smart as he is, you never listen to me. And I learned how to listen. Because of him, I'm a better listener. So from that point forward, I didn't listen to all this crazy stuff. Then I whooped him.
Well, you know what?
But I listened. People want to be heard.
But I also
That's my
think
point.
As parents,
and we got about 2 minutes left, so I'm going to leave it with you.
As parents, that happens all the time because we think we know we're right.
Yes.
And we think we know what they're going to say, and we forget to listen to our children. And that, it's funny that you said that. Probably for me, it didn't happen when they were 7. They happened a lot when they were older. With Amanda, it happened probably when she was a lot older, after we've gone through all the stuff. A lot older. But with Ashley, my youngest, that happened early teens.
Yeah.
She sat down and she says, I just need you to listen to me, Mom. I said, because yes, you have a lot of wisdom, but there's a lot of stuff I'm going through that you may not know. And I want to be able to talk to you about it.
And not only when you listen, you better make sure in 2 weeks you can confirm that you heard them. You got to reaffirm it.
Confirm, yes, I heard.
Yes, you
and
do.
Then the level of respect that you have to have for your children and your children for you. It's different. And the way that we raise our children now, I think that's something that you have to also remember, that relationship has to be built on respect as well.
Exactly. Build a relationship with your children. Self-love, mental health, and get mental help for your mental health.
Yes.
So that's our show.
Oh, that's
the end of our show.
I know.
Beatrice, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Come back in another 3 or 4 months or whenever.
Yes.
We are going for a massage after this, so we're going to do some self-loving today.
Yes, self-care.
Thank you so much for joining us. This is the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show, and we're on your side.